gonna be like, I can't hear me anyway.
Good morning, folks. Jeremy Larkin here, host of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive. We're going to be talking today about something that I think a lot of consumers are going to be interested in. And this is the outcomes of the National Association of Realtors lawsuit that we talked about several months ago. What happened in that settlement, what that means for buyers and sellers nationwide. Guys, this is in every city, literally in every city in the United States of America. These practices go into effect August 17th, 2024. As of today is the 8th of August, 2024. We're shooting this live from Larkin Group, headquarters downtown St. George. We will actually start working from these standards here in St. George and the Washington County Board of Realtors. And what does this mean? You know, Jesse, does it mean that I want you to not answer yet. Does this mean that?
Good thing you said that.
Yeah,
I was loading the guns.
I was worried he was. Does this mean that sellers no longer have to compensate agents? Does this mean that compensate the agent representing the buyer? Does this mean that buyers are now on the hook writing a check for their own commissions, paying their own fee to their agent? What does this look like? Does it lower or raise total commissions paid? Guys, I think it's a really interesting topic. And the reason I want to hit it head on is because realtors don't want to talk about this, which is exactly why we're going to talk about it, right? I think that this
it's all over the news.
Yeah, it's kind of
you can't get away from it.
And when I say realtors, that's a very blanket statement. I think a lot of agents are very have a lot of fear and trepidation to talk about this, and the only thing that stays the same is change. And the model, and we're going to talk about today on this show, if you're a seller and if you're a buyer, we're actually going to go back and review. We're going to repeat something that was on a show, I don't know, 2 months ago. We're going to talk about why the model has worked and why people are frustrated. Some people, right? I mean, not every buyer and seller even has an opinion on it. A lot of them, we worked with 2,000 clients. I'd say that a lot of them never, you know what it'd be like? You know what it'd be like, Jesse? It would be like, it's a little bit like this Utah Tech name change. There have been two assumptions. One is that everybody needs the name to change, and the other is that nobody cares about the name changing. The reality is that at the end of the day, and you had a group that say if we didn't change the name at Utah Tech that we were going to run the university off the rails, and you had a group that say if we lose the name Dixie that we will destroy our heritage. Well, here's the reality. They changed the name. Nothing's changed in St. George, Utah.
No,
nothing's changed at the university. Like it's just business as usual. You can't
kill a spirit because you changed the name of technically a business, right?
Yeah, and absolutely, university is a business.
It's a business. So there's no business in St. George that is the essence of St. George. St. George itself and the people in it are the essence of St. George, are the history of St. George.
So, I mean, look, exactly. I actually like this point. And so, they changed the name. And notice, I'm not making a case for either way. I'm simply saying they changed the name of the university. It's business as usual, guys, right? Like,
and I don't know a lot about it, but from what I gathered from people that were involved, they almost didn't have a choice if they wanted to continue as a successful university.
Well, look,
no, I mean, they would have to close their doors.
I would say, I think that might be,
they would have lost massive support, financial support.
Well, actually, there is a huge group that actually pulled their financial support because they changed the name.
Oh,
did you know that?
I didn't. So either way they were like, either way they were.
Yeah. So
that's
yeah.
See, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So the reality is this: some people pulled their support at the university because the name was changed. Some people will give support financially because the name was changed. At the end of the day, it's business as usual. This NAR settlement, we're going to talk about what it means for buyers and sellers. Or we're going to talk about, are we in a neutral sellers or buyers market? Are we in a market that is neutral? Does it favor sellers? Does it favor buyers? But, in this commission lawsuit settlement deal, what does this mean for buyers and sellers? I want to start, though. I want to talk about the market first. We're going to come back to this, guys. Jeremy Larkin, host of the St. George Real Estate Morning Drive, the Southern Utah, whatever real estate morning drive you want it to be, with Jesse Paul, my business partner. We're at Larkin Group headquarters, downtown St. George, Utah. We help folks navigate their wealth in real estate. We help them manage their wealth in real estate. If you haven't taken a good look at your home equity in a time period, it might be a fun and fine thing for you to do. You can hop on over to gostgeorge.com and just click on the home value link. Gostgeorge.com, click on the home value link, and you can do it it's an automated home equity checkup. Once you have that information, it'll give you the option to just reach out to us and ask if you're interested, and request that we physically walk your home and give you a written statement of value, like basically a projected value if you were to sell your property in this market. This is going to tell you how much equity you have in your home. I think it's kind of fascinating to know this. We have a lot of people that go there. I had somebody comment, so funny. We sent an automated message out. Hey, thanks. We saw you got your home valuation. I wanted to see if you had any questions. Do you want to chat? And the person said, I just wanted a home value, not a conversation. But that was the first part. And I said, hey, I hear you. It was a text message.
Yeah.
They responded and said, and by the way, it didn't just take seconds like you said on the radio. Oh, man. Well, yeah, it probably took 30, to be fair. And it might have taken 60 if they put some extra detail in.
Yeah. Well, and it depends on how long they hesitated. Like,
yeah. Are these guys going to show up on my doorstep? GoStGeorge.com, home value. Jesse, are we in a buyer's, sellers, or a neutral market?
I think we're actually in a neutral market.
Let's talk about it. Do you know what Zillow says? Everybody wants to know what Zillow says. Zillow says, drum roll, please.
I'm ready.
Neutral market. Let's define this for a minute.
I didn't even look at that.
It's interesting because I keep a close kind of tabs on what Zillow is saying. What is what are homes.com saying? What is realtor.com saying? What are we seeing in the local multiple listing service? And the reason I track this is I'm curious about what consumers are seeing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are they reading?
Yeah.
Jesse, define this.
I was actually going off of just knowing that inventory levels were barely, we're still technically in a seller's market, but showing behavior, buyer behavior, offer behavior is more of a neutral market.
I want you to tell me define it for us. So help our listeners understand what a buyer, sellers, or neutral market is by industry definitions.
So industry definitions, now we count this in inventories in months, right? So if you had, for instance, right now we have 3.9 months of inventory. Anything under 4 months of inventory would be considered a seller's market. And all that means, if there's no other homes that hit the market, it would take us 3.9 months or 4 months to sell everything on the market at the rate of speed that we're selling homes. 4 to 6 months is considered a balanced or neutral market. And anything over 6 months is considered a buyer's market. And so the reason that I'm looking at it going, okay, technically we're still in a seller's market, barely, but we're still seeing quite a few sellers have to do price reductions in order to get a buyer, or to figure out, okay, at what price can we get a buyer? And in fact, that number of price reductions is actually going up, which isn't it's not too scary for me because this time of year, that's normal.
Let's talk about this for a minute, okay? And I'm going to tell you what actually love what Zillow says. So Jesse has defined a buyer's versus a seller's versus a neutral market. Okay. Zillow says this, and then I want to talk about summer, and then we're going to talk about commissions.
Okay.
We're going to talk about all of it. A buyer's market, okay, they have this little dial that they have.
Okay.
Strong buyer, neutral seller, strong seller. Tell me if this isn't deadly accurate, what this says. Neutral. Buyers and sellers are fairly evenly balanced overall. Choice homes may still see intense competition and quick to pending, while others can sit for months and see multiple price cuts.
Yep.
Spot on, man.
That's a good definition.
I was like, way to go, Zillow.com.
Which is almost what I just said, right?
It's exactly. That's why I wanted to hear from you first.
We're seeing, longer times to actually sell a home, with exception of, and this is where people really have to step out of the emotional part of my house is better or I need this much money. If the sellers that actually let go of the price and grab onto a strategy of, okay, how do I become the most valuable home to a buyer? Always get the most money.
Well, Jesse, let's layer something into this about getting the most money. This is a perception. I was writing a letter. It's actually an email. It's an email and a letter. It's kind of a client letter. Mm-hmm. And I said that, to sell a home in this market, in a market of record home prices and inflated interest rates,
yep, would
require a different effort than it did prior. Well, here's why I point this out. People hear, oh no, if you're a potential seller, right? Please listen to this. Oh, they said on we had the Larkin Group guys at Keller Williams Realty, legal disclaimer, on the radio. We had the guys at Larkin Group on the radio, and they said that we're back to a neutral market. I missed the seller's market. Okay, hear me, guys. Your home value. This is kind of fun. Should I pull one for you right now? I'm going to open up right now. I opened up Zillow and I grabbed a random home that is for sale in downtown St. George. It is listed for $699,000. It's in 660 East Circle. It's next to the Atwood Innovation Plaza, the old East Elementary where I used to go to school. Okay. Zestimate history. In 2018, 2019, Zillow pinned the value of this home at $375,000 in 2019. I'm going to go back 5 years. You know how we like to think in fives, tens?
Yep.
5 years ago, Zillow pinned the value at this home at $375,000. Today, it's listed for $699,000. Did that seller win or lose?
They won big time.
Oh, but I missed the market. Do not let, if you're a seller, the idea that we're in a neutral market cause you to not sell your home if your desire, or more importantly, need, is to sell your home. And the reason this is so important, right, is your home value probably doubled in the last 6 to 8 years.
Yes, so true.
Why wouldn't you sell it because you heard it was a neutral market? Well, here's why, Jesse. Because we heard and remember that 2 years ago, people were selling this stuff like crack cocaine. I don't know. That's a terrible analogy, but you get my point, right? You know what I mean? Like it was like a drug. People wanted to buy a home so badly in Washington County. You still won. You are winning. So if you're thinking about selling your home, don't go to an agent and say, is it a hot market? Because if it's hot, I'll sell. Go to your agent and say, tell me what's required to sell. Let me make a decision. Is that fair?
Mm-hmm. So this listing is actually a great example, right? They've had to go through 1, 2, 3, 4 price range.
Did you pull it? Sam? Did you pull it up?
Yeah.
Yes, 343 South, 660.
5 price changes, and they're still having to figure out, okay, what?
By the way, one of the coolest houses I've actually seen in Washington County right now on the market, I'm going to tell you right now, I might even make it our deal of the week next week. Our deal of the week this week, by the way, this is kind of fun. I want to talk about this. That may be the deal of the week next week, Jesse. Deal of the week this week is actually a listing that we got on the market. Jessica Taggart-Marone, one of our great agents. It's her client. The home is 496 Ridge Rim Way. The home's $177 a square foot, and it is a freaking cool home. The view
Very
from
cool.
Ridge Rim Way, oh my gosh.
Very cool home.
Guys, I'm actually going to link it in our Facebook Live, facebook.com/St. George Experts. Facebook.com/St. George Experts. I think you should be watching us live. You can see our faces. Facebook.com/St. George Experts. This is such a cool house. I look at it. I'm calling it the deal of the week. 2 days ago, it hit our Instagram feed as the deal of the week. This is something we do. And you can watch us. Jessica's actually watching right now. But I want you to check it out, guys. Again, it's Ridge Rim Way, and it'll be linked. Facebook.com/St. George Experts. Okay, so Jesse, here's the point. When you hear, if you're a seller, that it's a neutral market now and it's no longer technically a seller's market, don't make the mistake. Let's reiterate. Don't make the mistake of thinking that you shouldn't sell.
Right.
How you define if you need to sell or want to sell is you look at where you want to go, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why you want to go there, and then you look at the actual value of your home in comparison to when you bought it.
Right.
And then you make a decision.
And what doesn't matter is how much prices are where you're going. It has zero to do with what your house is worth.
This is important. I mean,
It's
by the way,
really
it does
important.
matter what they're worth where you're going. But what he's saying
but
is,
it does. But it won't
that.
change. So what we see a lot of times is, well, hey, I have to buy a house over here. This is what it costs. So I need to get this out of my house. And it doesn't work that way. Your house is going to be worth what it's worth. Worth what a buyer will pay for it. The buyer, they don't care how much it's going to cost you on the other side. So if it's not a price that the market will support, you're just going to end up frustrated with everything, with everybody, because you're trying to fit what you want into a market that actually can't support it.
Jesse, I want to talk about, can you take a note for next week? Can somebody take, Blake, will you send us a note? Will you text us? Yeah. Text that group chat. Okay. Creating a market. That's the phrase, Blake, for next week. I'm going to talk about how we create markets for homes. We talked about what I did with The Nest, downtown St. George. We created a market. I want to talk about what Ryan Serhant talks about.
I love that, because I was going to mention it today, but I knew it wasn't the right time.
Yeah, 5 minutes. We're going to talk about creating markets. We actually can show you how to create a market for your home. Fascinating. We're going to tell you a story next week about a guy who cut the price of his client's listing in Manhattan by 50%, and then it sold for $6 million. It's a crazy story.
Yep.
So
sold for exactly what they wanted.
Exactly. Crazy. But it wouldn't sell before. Okay, Jesse, let's shift gears. So it is a neutral market.
Yep.
It doesn't really favor buyers or sellers. Some homes are going to fly off the shelves.
Yep.
Some are going to sit on the market for 6 months. Do you remember the choice is yours at Chuckarama? We call it Chuckagrammas. That was the old Chuckarama ad. I think it's still the Chuckarama ad. The choice is yours. You actually don't have to sit on the market forever. Do you know that, guys? It's just that some people don't realize that. Now let's shift gears, Jesse, in the final 4 to 5 minutes of the show. And guys, we're going to treat this National Association of Realtors, a commissions lawsuit that happened, the entire country, the settlement, what it means for buyers and sellers. But we're going to hit it lightly. We're going to stay on after we go off the air. We're live on KDXU radio. Facebook.com/St. George Experts /ST George Experts. You can stay live in the conversation with us. You can actually ask questions. Here's what happened. Jesse, I'm going to lead because of time. I'm going to go fast.
Go for it.
We had a model for the last 30 to 50 years where what would happen is you'd sign a listing agreement as a seller with an agent. In that listing agreement, you'd say, I want to pay you as the listing agent blank, and I want to pay an agent who brings a buyer blank for a total commission of blank, right? 2 + 2 is 4, 3 + 3 is 6, whatever it was. And when the deal closes, I, as a seller, will pay the commission of the agent who's representing the buyer. And what happened is in our industry, it got really normal, really, really normal to tell buyers, listen, Jesse, I've got great news. You don't even have to pay any commissions. The seller's going to pay my commission if I represent you as a buyer.
Right.
Well, here's a question. Drum roll, please. If you're a buyer and you take the money that pays for the home and you give the money to the seller to pay for the home,
Right.
and the seller pays your agent a commission, who actually paid your agent? Did the seller pay your agent, or did you, in a roundabout way, actually pay the agent?
The buyer.
Okay, 2 minutes. The buyer paid the fee. We got into a point nationally where this lawsuit came up because they felt like there was a lack of transparency. I'm sure there was a lack of transparency in many cases. Here's what it means now. Effective today in the Washington County Multiple Listing Service and effective August 17th, buyer agent commissions, what a seller is willing to pay the agent that represents a buyer, will no longer be displayed in the Multiple Listing Service. Okay? It will either be negotiated at the time of an offer, or the seller can sign a separate agreement that their agent will have to communicate, right, to agents representing buyers. Hey, yes, my seller is willing to offer compensation. Here's what they've done. We're decoupling listing agent commission and buyer agent commissions. There's a possibility if a seller was not willing to pay a commission to an agent representing a buyer, that the buyer would have to pay their own agent.
Yep.
I'm going to leave you with a takeaway. The reason the model works so well forever is that the buyer funded their own commission. The buyer actually paid the commission by buying the home. But the money came from the equity when the home was sold, meaning the buyer didn't have to write a check and the seller didn't have to write a check. That's why it worked. I want to reiterate that for the annals of all time. We have 1 minute. However, this changes. And quite honestly, I like the transparency of the change. So listen, buyers, are you going to have to pay your agent? Possibly. Maybe. Quite frankly, guess what?
Maybe.
You always were.
Yeah.
Sellers, do you not have to pay the agent representing a buyer? You never did. But there was a lack of clarity on that, and there was the feeling, I fully understand it, I see it in hindsight, that you were made to feel that you didn't, that you had to. I believe at the end of the day that sellers offering compensation to all of the agents in the marketplace to bring a buyer is the best way to get the most money, period. I have 2,000 transactions to prove it. However, in most cases, that's going to be negotiated at the time of an offer rather than pre-offered.
Right.
How did I do?
Pretty good. I think that's how it's going to actually shake out, is it'll be just negotiated at the time of the offer.
Guys, visit us at gostgeorge.com or stay on at facebook.com/St. George Experts. We're going to go into depth on this commissions lawsuit thing. There you go. We're off the radio. Okay, we're gonna keep rolling. We're not stopping. There's no stopping this train.
Hey, by the way,
yeah,
in the time that it took you to explain your tool built into your website about getting a home evaluation, estimation at least. Yeah, I got mine.
You went.
Yeah, 30 seconds.
By the way,
it was 30 seconds.
Okay, let's talk about this.
As much time as it took me to put my information in.
Okay,
right.
Boom.
Okay, and he's slow. Okay, this is Blake Norton, guys, who is owner of Blueform Media, co-owner, right? Got Mallory here, Mallory Roberts. Okay, listen, Blake, you plugged in, he went to gostgeorge.com, gostgeorge.com. He plugged in his address. He lives in Santa Clara. 30 seconds.
30 seconds.
Okay, give me a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being it's spot on, 1 meaning I don't even think they gave me the valuation for the right home. How accurate do you think it is based on what you thought?
Spot on, because I've checked it before by other means. I like this evaluation better.
Isn't this cool?
Yeah, I have about 180K in equity apparently.
Nice.
Boom.
Yeah. So
Nice.
What could Blake do with this? He could sit on it and be happy.
Yep.
He could pull it out and renovate. I mean, you could pull money out and renovate the crap out of that home. Now, you'd have to pay interest on that money, right? You could pull it out and purchase. You know what's kind of cool,
Another
Blake?
property?
Mal, what's fun? You could pull out $50,000. We're not telling you to do this. This is fun to think about. You could pull $50K out of your equity right now. go to Oklahoma, put $25,000 down on 2 different properties, and have 2 absolutely, Jesse, yes or no, cash flowing properties with $25,000 down. Now, granted, you would owe some interest, and I'd have to run a mortgage, like a interest rate calculator on, because it's a little different than a mortgage calculator, on what, because there would be a cost to that money, right? Because you'd be paying about 9% on it.
Yeah.
But here's why I want to say this, and we will come back to this commissions deal. Look at the leverage. Kind of cool, right?
It is.
Now, most people are just going to sit on it. By the way, you could pull it out and buy an RV or a boat. People do that kind of crap. They do, right?
Yep.
And here's the funny part. You can go pay 8 or 9% to the credit union for your boat, or you can just pull it out on a home equity line of credit. That's a little bit like a bank account where you can pull it out and put it back in. It's a lot easier. It's a lot easier than going to get a boat loan. It's a lot easier than getting a pool loan. You could put a pool in your yard. There's a lot you could do. 30 seconds at gostgeorge.com it took you to take that.
Yeah, my mind is spinning, man. I got ideas. You've just added some ideas.
I know. Isn't it crazy?
Yeah,
Guys,
we can brainstorm later.
Yeah, or you could put $50K down on a property and really cash flow. And here's the thing. Okay, Mal, what do you got? She wants to say something.
I'm just making jokes. I'm like, we could buy all the
Yes.
studio gear.
Listen, I was going to say, guys, with 180 grand,
We could buy all the cameras.
you could definitely
There you
get
go.
your
You
own.
wouldn't
You
have-
could
you wouldn't
actually,
have to
you
switch
can
it
stop
back.
screwing around at your house and get yourself your own little space. Anyway,
Yeah.
you know what else you could do? No, I'm going way
Well,
down
the
road.
point is, right?
You could have we could have sublet this whole room over here and turned it into your own studio.
That'd be cool. But the point is, though, easily accessible. That was go stgeorge.
Yeah, go stgeorge.com.
And I got the ideas are spinning off of just 30 seconds. I think I put my name, my email, and my phone number, and then your team also sent me a text right away.
Yeah,
and I just
fully
said,
automated,
yeah,
right?
I just said stop, and then it stopped.
Here's what's funny. I literally can go in right now and see this. And you want to know the funny thing about it? And it probably came from me. This one, because if you go into specific sites, it'll come. Depends on where it came from. But here's my point. People are like, "Wow, I didn't know you were going to text me so quick." That's automation, guys. Yeah. Right? like who's actually texting anyone that quick? No one's texting anyone that quick.
Well,
that was just an automation.
and here's the reality. Why wouldn't we reach out? Hey, I just wanted to make sure you got it. Did it look right? Did it look off?
Let's look at this, Blake. I pulled you up. Blake Norton, registered August 8th, 2024. Hey, Blake, this is Jeremy Larkin with Larkin Group. I received your message about a property market value. By the way, this is my office number. If you prefer to not be texted, just tell me to stop. He said stop. The next text would be like, hey, what do you think? Or I don't even remember what the theme is, right?
Yeah.
So
Fantastic system, by the way.
I think it's wicked. And here's the really cool part is we have something that's even more fun. And I'm going to set it up right now. Now watch how fast this is. Of course I can't. We don't have Zoom, but that's okay. I went in. Okay. So I have you in my record, in my system. Wow. They keep my information. Hello guys. Everyone keeps your information. Okay.
Yeah.
But watch this. Instead of me keeping your info, that sounds like you're being taken advantage of. Watch what I'm going to do. I go down to market report. I'm going to add a remarket report. I'm going to add, I won't state your address on the air. It has it in
Thank
here.
you.
I'm going to use a smart radius. Smart radius will automatically expand the radius of your search until the report returns 15 results. It returned 32. It's too many. I'm going to come in. How many beds and bathrooms is your home, Blake?
3 bed, 2
bed.
Sorry, 4 bed. 2
Technically, okay. So I'm going to say 3 and 2 as a minimum. So I'm going to put a minimum of 3 and a minimum of 2 bathrooms. I'm going to come in. How many square feet is that home? Do you think?
Just over 1,600.
Smaller home, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to come in and I'm going to put a maximum price. This is what's funny. It's a smaller home in Santa Clara. It's not worth $1 million. So what I'll do is I'll cap it. And by capping it a little higher than that, it took us from 32 to 21 results. Do you see what's happening? I'm going to give you a real report. What I'm going to do, it says show more. I'm going to come in and it says square feet. I'm going to give it a maximum of square feet of 2,500. Why would I do that? I want Blake to see the neighborhood.
Yeah, it really shows you what's going on in the neighborhood.
I'm going to leave the year built max and minimum. I'm going to say next, and it's now going to send you once a month the coolest freaking report, guys. I'm not joking. It is So I'm going to preview the report right now.
Now, the market report is not meant to give you, even though it will give you a home value, but sometimes it can be high based on what it's pulling. It's more to show you really what's going on in the neighborhood.
I don't know. Yeah. Gives you range. So this gives you, let me tell you what's in here. It gives you an estimated home value. It gives you a low to high range. You can say, do you think this estimate is accurate, too low, too high? How has your market changed over time? It actually walks you through what's been happening over the last 24 months. It says, by the way, Blake, because it pulled your address, it's 4 beds, 2 baths. It didn't say anything about square feet. I will update the square footage because it didn't have it. I'm just going to go ahead and guess it. I'm going to go ahead and round it. Okay. I went in and I added square feet. It says it was built in 1993. You ready for the fun part? You could sell your home, estimated cash. Now, by the way, it doesn't put a loan in there. You can put in, when you get the report, your own loan balance. It's a dial that you dial it up. Remaining loan balance. Today it says 0, so we'll leave it at that because, right? Privacy.
Sure.
You can dial in your remaining loan balance, sell your home, estimated cash out refi, estimated cash, pull out equity, estimated cash, because it estimates it based on standard loan programs. Purchase a new home. It says estimated purchase power 1.7 million, because, by the way, it's estimating that you have no balance and you would take.
Oh yeah.
It's like if you took that entire amount and bought a new home, you could afford 1.7 million.
And you can go in and
right?
tweak it and add your mortgage.
Okay.
This is what I owe.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Okay. Ready to use your equity? You're going to get this report. Contact an agent. You can. Market temperature. Santa Clara is hot for market for sellers with the current temperature of 62. We recommend consulting with your agent who can provide valuable insights tailored to your specific needs. Buyer's market 0 to 50. Seller's market 51 to 100. It's ranking at 61. It tells us that in the last 30 days, Santa Clara has been selling for an average of $509,000. 13 new homes have gone on the market. 3 have closed, and the average days on market is 93. And then finally, it gives you a map with every one of the properties that's in your report. And below that, you can look at every single active listing, and there's a picture, and you can click on it. Yes or no? Is this freaking cool?
Yeah.
That is insanely valuable, man. Like, I'm in the know. So here I am, impromptu.
Right.
Click on Jeremy's website just because he's talking about it. I'm like, oh, I want to talk about this. And now I have all the information I need, plus a report to even go deeper.
It's crazy. By the way, this is fun fact.
It is.
If you're an agent,
and I have a comment.
if you're an agent and you're flailing emotionally or actually, and you're looking for some support, do you know that all of our agents have all this tech?
Mm-hmm.
This is part of being an agent at the Larkin Group, and they're able to send this to clients.
Yeah.
We have like 4,000 people on these reports. Go, Jesse. Wow, I got excited right there.
Based on what you were saying, hey, reach out and really have a conversation with an agent. Here's where I think that's valuable with a good agent. A good agent isn't just going to talk you into selling your house or talk you into doing something. They're going to help you dig deep and figure out what exactly you want to do and help you find a creative way to do it.
Oh my goodness.
Yesterday
yes.
I was on the phone with, it was a referral that had some questions, and ultimately she was trying to get some money out of the house to pay off another home, but she's going to have massive capital gains.
Mm-hmm.
And so we talked for about 15 minutes and actually come up with a strategy that she could, instead of selling and creating capital gains, do a private mortgage with a trust.
Boom.
A family trust, right?
Boom.
I wasn't trying to talk her into selling the house. I wasn't trying to talk her into doing some weird stuff. I'm like, okay. Based on what she was trying to do, I thought, well, have you tried this? Because there's no tax benefit at all, or there's no tax at all. So I called the CPA. Hey, is it legal? First of all, can we pull it off? Does it make sense? Totally made sense. So a good agent will actually help you figure out stuff that you wouldn't be able to figure out on your own, because that's not what you do every day, unless you're doing that kind of stuff every day.
Correct.
Right. And there's so many different ways that you can get to where you want to go.
Jesse, I love this. Let me tell you another story really quick. I had a gal, Kathy, in Sun River, and this is kind of interesting because this story is the punchline of this story is that Kathy didn't do anything. She actually learned she had to stay. Had a client of ours. We've worked with her in the past. Last name to protect the innocent. There are probably plenty of Kathys with 1,000 homes in Sun River, right?
Yep.
And so, by the way, have you guys noticed how generational names are? Right?
Yeah.
So Sun River's 55 plus, right? It's a little bit like there are so many Jennifers, as you know, in my life, that were born between, I'm going to call it 70 and 80. That was like a Jennifer thing. Anyway, there's probably a lot of Kathys in Sun River. So she reaches out. We've worked with Kathy in the past, and she reaches out and says, "Hey, my son lives with me. I have this tiny home in Sun River. It doesn't work for me." Okay. And I don't think it works for me. It feels kind of tight, and we're trying to figure this out. Well, what happened is her initial impulse was, I want to sell this home and buy another.
Yep.
That is a lovely impulse. Okay. That's exciting. I was chagrined to really, at the end of the day, tell her she couldn't, but I didn't tell her she couldn't. She came to us. I went to her home. I previewed the home. I walked the property. We assessed Sun River. We looked at all of her options. We brought a lender in. She has a reverse mortgage like many folks in Sun River do. We brought a lender in. The lender assessed her situation. Chantry Abbott, by the way, one of our great show partners. Chantry is with Guild Mortgage. If you want to chat with someone about your property and whether that's a refinance, I think before we get off, we should talk also. We're covering a lot of stuff today. We should talk about interest rate drop last week, 6 days ago, of 0.5%. That's pretty powerful. But Chantry Abbott assessed it, looked at this in detail, and ultimately said, here's the problem, Kathy. Your home can sell for X, right? And the home you want to purchase that's bigger, literally around the corner, because it's in the same subdivision, is Y. And the problem is that because you need a reverse mortgage, Jesse, a reverse mortgage requires a minimum of how much down?
I think it's 60. It
I've
depends
heard
on your
50.
age. Well, it depends on your age.
But a minimum of
50%
50% down.
I think a maximum of 65.
A minimum of 50% in a down payment. Well, ultimately, instead of Kathy running out, hiring a realtor, I'm glad she called us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm glad she called us because we didn't have fear to go, sorry, Kathy, Jesse, let's ask you.
It just didn't make a lot of sense.
Let's ask a fun question. Do you think we would have enjoyed selling her home and getting paid a commission?
Sure.
Do you think it would have been fun to go to closing and get a photo with her? Hey, Kathy just closed her home. Look at us. Realtors love to brag about doing what is just their day job.
Yeah.
Do you think it would have been fun to get her into the new one that fit her needs?
Yeah.
Would it have been fun to get paid a commission on that deal?
Yep.
Guess what? It didn't work.
No.
It didn't work.
What's not fun is realizing once you've done it and it was the absolute wrong thing for the client, and then you can't undo it.
Yeah, you can't reverse that crap. And so,
that's what's not fun. And so the diving deep on the front end is so crucial.
Guys, I'm going to tell you something. If you want a recipe for success versus a recipe for disaster, let me give you a recipe for disaster in the home selling process. Be impulsive, make rush judgments, hire someone in 30 seconds without sitting down and having a deep conversation, rush to put your home on the market.
I want it on tomorrow, this week.
Skip all the repairs, hire an agent who said, no, you don't need to do any of the things that, Jesse, you actually already know in your heart you need to do to fix up your house, but you've kind of been hoping that, right?
Yeah.
That's a recipe for disaster. You're going to have a process that's painful. It's going to be riddled with home inspection delays and potentially contract failures. And you're going to get less money at the end of the day. That hurts. That hurts. So recipe for success, slow the heck down. Visit with, if you need to, multiple real estate agents. Seek an agent who says, listen, do I have permission to be absolutely 107%, which isn't possible because only 100% is possible. But
Yep.
transparent with you, Jesse, about exactly what needs to happen for you to have the best outcome. I'm working with a client right now. These folks are so wonderful. Moving to assisted care. They live in Hurricane.
Yep.
I first met with them 3 weeks ago. And they said, here was the first conversation we had. Their statement. Oh my gosh, we got to move and we need to be into the assisted care by September. And we have our room locked down because, these assisted care facilities, they don't just have unlimited spaces, right? People contract to move in. And we need to be sold and out of here by this date. Well, lo and behold, I'm going back to their home today. I went to the home, visit one. Jessica, one of our great agents, but a designer and stager, Jessica went visit two. We actually pay her to go to the home and do a staging consultation. Jessica goes to the home. Talk about taking it slow, right? She goes to the home. She visits with the sellers, sits down. She calls me, these people are darling. I said, you bet they're some of the greatest people I've ever met in real estate. Says, guys, I think you need to process quite a litany of de-staging and decluttering.
Yep.
You have a lot of beautiful kind of keepsakes in the home. But they had, this woman is a collector and she had a lot of cool stuff.
Yeah.
That's all going to have to go away. Then we talked on the phone. Now I'm going back for visit 3. Jesse, clearly, Jeremy, this must be like a multi-million-dollar home to justify all the time. It's $330,000. This is what needs to happen. I'm physically going back out today to walk the property, and then we will decide.
Here's what you just have to think about.
We will decide. Well, I don't want to lose thought.
Yeah.
Then he gets a little anxious, doesn't he?
I do.
It's like a puppy dog. Then we will decide whether we shoot photography next week or we move them out entirely with their dog and then we photograph the home and do showings without them. Thank you for letting me finish that,
No problem.
That gasp of a statement.
Well, what people need to think about, well, they don't have to, but if you want the best results, literally forget that you're selling a house and put yourself in buying a house state of mind.
Put that buyer hat on.
As a buyer, what would be the things that would stand out to you and go, wow, this is an awesome house. Wow, this shows so nice. Wow, this is priced so well. I don't have time to think about it overnight because I don't want to lose this house. Because if they're in as a buyer, if they're in any other state while they're walking through your house, you've lost them. And when I say you've lost them, they might still make an offer, but you've lost them in the best sense.
Jesse, you are speaking absolute pure wisdom. When I sold that home on 200 West.
You thought that way. You thought every question was, what would the buyer want?
We literally had done $20,000 in updates. We get done with all of it. We've had the professional cleaning crew, by the way, royalty cleaning. If you want one of the best cleaning crews in the planet, I want to refer you to these are my personal crew. They do my home. They do this building. Shara, she is so amazing, and her team. They do the final clean. The final clean, it's over. And I walk in there and I'm like, I don't like the grout, man. I should have had them strip. I should have had them do the grout. So I bring them back and they do the grout. Okay. Then Jordan Paul, amazing painter. Jordan comes out and he touches up some stuff in the bathroom. Well, lo and behold, here's the problem. When he touched the stuff up, he sanded the spots. Oh no. Well, the second he sanded the spots, now there's a layer of sheetrock dust.
Oh, on the floors, yeah.
In the bedroom.
Yeah.
I send Shara out a third time. Okay. Then we hold a friends and family kickoff of that property.
Yeah.
We had a barbecue and homemade ice cream. I call Shara that night. Will you come back in the morning and re-clean? I said, will you come do the 2 bathrooms and mop the floors?
Okay.
Jesse, here, what was my thought process? Say in one sentence, what was my thought process?
When this goes to the market, how is it going to be pristine for the buyers coming through?
How is it literally? How about this even? How could this be a no-brainer?
Mm-hmm.
By the way, was it a no-brainer?
Yes.
How many
I have
offers?
A question for you.
8 offers.
8 offers. Like what? How far over did that go?
$30,000.
Okay. How much do you think it cost you to have that cleaner come back 3 times, 4 times?
I'm gonna guess that first cleaning was $500. The grout was probably another $250. The light once over when she came back after the sheetrock dust, they probably only charged me $100.
Okay.
And they charged me another $100 at the end. So total $1,000.
Okay. Do you feel like it was a fair trade? $1,000. Now,
and by
which
the
is
way,
a lot,
throw out the first 500 because since you've had construction at home, you had to do the initial cleaning anyway.
You have to do it.
So guess what? It was really $500. Was $500 worth of cleaning? Let me tell you about my peace of mind. We have the little party on the Monday night.
So good.
By Tuesday at 10 a.m., they've already redone the house. Peace of mind. I just knew people would walk in. Guys, when you prep your home, if you're not talking to an agent who says, listen to me, Mrs. or Mr., whatever you are, seller in this day and age, will you give me permission to help your home be an absolute no-brainer for buyers? Jesse, I want to shift gears. 2 things.
Okay.
Last week, we talked to your guys, a couple things. By the way, we had our good friend Tom Cristolaw on the show last week. Oh my gosh, Dixie Cable Tech. This guy helped us get our Sonos sound system. Well, we're not done. He's going to do more back in order in our office. And I want to boost him again because he's such a good friend and came and did this stuff
for us. Yeah, he did a good job.
Tom is so cool. You can see all these shows on on YouTube. Look up the Larkin Group. That's youtube.com/Go St. George TV, or look up the Larkin Group St. George on YouTube. You can watch all of our episodes, full episodes. You can watch hundreds of 60-second or shorter. Some are 15-second shorter videos. But Tom was in here with Dixie Cable Tech. We talked about Chantry Abbott with Guild Mortgage. Guys, 0.5-point drop in home prices interest rates last week. Jesse, $500,000 home. What does that mean to me as a buyer? If my budget was $500, and home price and interest rates, I'm struggling, dropped by 0.5%, what does that mean my budget now became?
$525.
Okay. Which is equivalent of a
0.5%.
Which is equivalent of 5%. It's a 5%
Yeah, 5%.
increase.
5%. Sorry about that.
5%, a 0.5-point drop.
Yep, is a 5% increase in your budget.
So a 1% drop in rates would equal a
$50,000 or 10%.
A 10% increase. Now I want to say this another way. If my budget were $500,000 and I was strapped, and I didn't want to raise it, and rates fell by 0.5 point, my home just got how much more affordable? Now it feels like
5%.
Yeah. So the equivalent of taking 25. Now it's like buying a $475 to $480 home.
Yep.
Now a $500,000 purchase feels like $480 at the previous rate.
Yep.
Okay. So guys, if you think this isn't a big deal that rates fell a 0.5 point, here's what's happening though. Buyers are hearing the Fed's talking a September rate cut.
So they're holding off.
It will be interesting to see if there is competition. But I want you to just check that out, guys. Chantry Abbott Guild Mortgage is our show partner.
That will be interesting to see because so much talk has been, oh man, if we see that in the 5s again, here we go.
Yeah.
So we'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So Jesse, let's shift gears back to this commissions thing. Let's wrap our show up today. Realtors are spinning in circles about this change of the change in the way that stuff's being compensated. And here are the fears. Okay. I want to walk through it. Real estate agents are afraid that buyers won't hire them. And we're going to talk about something really important when they communicate that if the seller won't pay my fee, you may have to. Okay. Jesse, yes or no? Weren't buyers always paying the commission?
Yes.
And they were always paying the commission. How did they pay it?
Through the sales price.
They bought the home.
Yep.
But there was this perception that our industry conveyed that buyers didn't have to pay commissions. Okay, that's a fear that agents have. Buyers are afraid that they may have to do what? What are buyers afraid of?
That they're going to have to come out of pocket.
Come out of pocket.
Extra out of pocket.
Okay, I'm going to set this up with something very interesting. If buyers have to come out of pocket to purchase a home, write a check to pay an agent, versus have that commission paid through them buying the home by the seller, it's actually more likely that buyers are going to want to see homes where the seller is offering compensation. I haven't talked to you about this yet. I've been thinking about it since yesterday.
Yeah.
I haven't shared this with you.
Yeah. Here's the hard part is we just don't know how this is going to shake out.
We have no clue.
No clue. But for a buyer, if they're looking at 4 homes and 2 of them are where they don't necessarily have to pay out of pocket to pay their agent, and 2 of them they have to pay out of pocket, in their mind they're probably going to disqualify those.
Correct.
Unless the home is just that one, then they try to figure it out. But for the most part, they're most likely going to, what's that? The road of least resistance.
Yes, guys, path of least resistance. So okay, sellers, okay, are suddenly asking, do I no longer have to pay a buyer's agent, and may already be doing the math, assuming that they don't have to pay an agent.
Well, to be fair, they really never did have to.
And you beat me to it. Did they ever have to? No. But the industry conveyed the idea that they did. Here's the issue. Jesse, do sellers run a risk if they don't compensate the agents in the marketplace, agents representing buyers? Do they run the risk of getting fewer showings and fewer offers?
Yeah,
100% they do.
They do.
Okay, let me read this to you. This is straight from the National Association of Realtors website. This is nar.realtor/the-facts/what the NAR settlement means for home buyers and sellers. Things to know this is official.
The official one, okay.
Things to know as a home buyer or seller. If you were a buyer and your agent is using an MLS, are agents in Washington County using an MLS?
We are.
Yes. You will need to sign a written agreement with your agent before touring a home, so you can understand exactly what services will be provided and for how much. I'm going to come back in a minute to a showing agreement.
Yep.
Written agreements are required for both in-person and live virtual home tours. Let me repeat. If you're a buyer, effective August 17th, you cannot preview a home, walk a home with an agent without some type of a written agreement. We will come back to what that means. Period. Jesse.
Right.
Period.
Yep.
Now, buyers may go, wait a minute, you mean the NAR is required? No, they're not requiring you to pay anything. What they're actually doing is they're clearing up all of the confusion that existed before.
Yeah.
Okay. Guys, this is because the National Association of Realtors was sued. They're not trying to make this harder for buyers. They're trying to make this clearer for buyers. Okay. Number 3. Okay. You do not need a written agreement if you're just speaking to an agent at an open house or asking them about their services. Number 4, agent compensation for home buyers and sellers continues to be fully negotiable. Was it before?
Yes.
Number 5, when finding an agent to work with, ask questions about their services, compensation, and these written agreements. Oh, yes. And number 6, more details about these changes and what they mean can be found at facts.realtor. And I think it's facts.realtor. It's nar.realtor/the-facts. Okay. Let me come back for a minute. Okay. Guys, the world changed. And the world changed because before we said this earlier in our show. You'd come to an agent as a buyer and be like, hey, I want to see some homes. And first of all, you didn't have to have a written agreement to go look at homes. You could just go tour any home. Number two, if you talk to an agent and say, do I have to pay you a commission? The agent would typically say, no, the seller pays my commission.
Yep.
The reality is if you were buying a home, you technically paid the commission because you funded the commission being paid.
The commissions were always paid out of the purchase price.
The next thing is that in the multiple listing service, your agent could go in and this is where this actually protects buyers and it protects everybody. The agent could go in and see exactly what they're going to be offered, 3, 3.5, 2, 2.5, 1, 1.5, whatever percentage of the sales price, they could see that displayed in the multiple listing service. At the Larkin Group, we have had a policy for decades. We show every home our buyers want to see. We show our buyers every home that fits their needs, regardless of compensation.
Yep. Doesn't
However, what was happening in the industry, Jesse? Were agents sometimes? Were some agents not showing homes because they weren't going to get paid what they wanted? Yes or no?
Yeah, I think so.
You bet they were. Do you know how many clients came to us and said, my freaking agent would only show me blah, 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 and they didn't like it, so they'd hire someone new. Mm-hmm. What this does, this removes the conflict of interest of the buyer agent compensation from the mix. It cleans that up.
Yeah, and it makes it more transparent to the buyer.
Very transparent. So buyers, you will now you will have to sign an agreement to see a home. Well, in the state of Utah, in most states, but in the state of Utah, that's where we work. We have what is called is it called a limited showing agreement? Something along those lines. I'll tell you.
I think so.
I'll tell you what it's called in just a minute. Okay, I have it right here.
I think that's what it's called.
If you are not
a one-time showing agreement. Or something?
If you are not prepared to contract with an agent for their services, okay, what is called a buyer broker agreement, and you want to see a home, you will still be required to sign an agreement. You can sign an agreement that is literally to see one home with an agent, and that's it. Okay. In that agreement, I'm going to tell you something kind of interesting. It states really clearly, this is not a commitment to work with this agent long-term. Now, by the way, realtors, this is incredible. Inside our drive, there are 6 new forms. This is so fun. Taylor Lemon, who's our listing coordinator for all of our agents here at the Larkin Group, she sent out an email the other day, Jesse, titled Major Listing Paperwork Updates. And she has every single one of the forms linked and shared in one folder. That means that agents on our team at a glance, which I'm about to open up, agents on our team can literally just, you know what I mean? Like they can just grab the forms. One of the things that I want you to understand, guys, is if you're a buyer or seller, is the world just got more transparent. I want to say the 2 following things. No sellers. Okay. Yes, sellers. I'm going to rephrase this. Absolutely, you could not pay the agent representing a buyer. Okay. That is up to you. We get to negotiate that with you and on your behalf when an agent makes an offer. Number 2, you could absolutely commit on the front end that you're willing to pay 2, 2.5, 3%. There are pros and cons, whatever you want to offer to an agent. There are pros and cons, all of them. Buyers, you were always paying the commission.
Yeah.
But the industry did a poor job of conveying that because you bought the home, buying the home funded the commission. When you enter into an agreement with an agent of representation, there's absolutely a possibility that you would have to compensate the agent if the seller would not do so on your behalf. I have a prediction.
Okay.
I have a prediction that in 9 out of 10 cases, the seller will still continue to compensate an outside agent.
I think so. Even if they don't up front, I think they will in the end.
My prediction is based on the fact that I think it is in the best interest of sellers to do so. Mm-hmm. But part of my prediction is that we will see much more variety in what is being paid.
Yeah.
Forever it was 3%. That's what was believed. It actually wasn't always 3%. We know this
It
because
ranged anywhere from 1 to 4.
yeah. But guys, we
It
have
was all over the board.
guys. We have local builders who pay 4%. S&S Homes has been paying 4%.
Yeah.
For a while.
For a while.
So don't think for a minute, well, it's not, right. But my prediction is that that will happen in 9 of 10 cases. And what's going to happen is it's going to take 6 to 12 months
For this to fit,
to
shake itself out.
for buyers and sellers, not just agents, but for buyers and sellers to adjust their mindset.
For everybody. It's going to take a minute.
Okay, but this is no longer displayed in the multiple listing service for agents. So what are agents going to have to do? If agents want to call, first I want to ask you some questions. Then I'm going to ask what what I think our personal policy is about showing homes. If agents want to find out if compensations are being offered, how will they find out? They'll have to do what?
They can either make a phone call to the listing agent. They can figure out each listing agent, where are they displaying it somewhere else? Really, those are the only two options. You either have to make a phone call to the listing agent, or you have to find out are they putting it on their website or something else, but or send them an email.
Okay.
To me, I think it's irrelevant. Let's just
Let's
figure
talk
it out.
So let's talk about our policy. So if you're a buyer and you were thinking
you're
of
a buyer.
hiring us and you want to know what our attitude is, we went to this huge training. Everybody was, every realtor in town had to go to it. And agents were like, well, this means we're going to have to call every agent in town and find out if we're going to get compensated. And Jesse, you had said something really amazing. And you said, Jesse, you went to our team and said, you know what you really ought to do is what? When the buyer wants to see a home?
Show them the home and figure it out later. Here's why. I don't know how many of you out there have actually tried to get a realtor on the phone and realized
we really endeavored to
10
be better than this.
deep and you can't get anybody to answer the phone. Do we really want to waste our time trying to figure out, am I going to get paid or not? When my job is just to figure out, I truly believe if I actually do what's best for the client first, without regard to whether I'm going to get paid or not, it always works out in the end. Always. And it works out better than if I tried to control it in the beginning.
Yep. Well, okay, now let's talk about this. There are going to be buyers who are going to say, but now I want to kind of give the devil's advocate, just so we hear all the options. There are going to be buyers, however, who are going to say, yeah, but I don't have the money to pay you.
Yep.
So will you find out if the agents are going to compensate, if the seller is going to compensate on this listing?
Okay.
That's going to happen. This goes back to what I said as we wrapped up our radio show this morning. Why did the model work before? Here's why. Guys, I want to play on a $100,000 deal. There are no $100,000 homes, by the way. Okay, you ready? $100,000 deal. I'm going to go back to early in my career. $100,000 deal. In the old world, you would have signed a listing agreement, and if you're a seller, okay, we're going to pay you 3% and the outside agent who brings us the buyer 3% from like Remax or Caldwell Banker or Keller Williams or Daffy Duck Real Estate. Yes, okay. So $3,000 and $3,000. Okay, perfect. We would go in the multiple listing service and it would display 3% is the co-op fee of the sales price to the outside agent. Okay? You'd come in, you'd purchase the home, however you purchased it. You'd either bring cash or you'd go get a loan. And when all is said and done, the seller would get $100,000.
Yep.
At closing, out of the proceeds, the seller's loan would be paid off, the title fees would be paid, the mortgage fees would be paid. The listing agent got $3,000, well, the brokerage, and the buying brokerage got $3,000.
Yep.
Why did it work? Because the buyer didn't have to come up with $3,000 out of their freaking pocket. Well, guess what? Now sales prices are $500 and up,
That's
$400
a lot
and
of
up.
money.
This is why it worked.
It's a lot of money, yeah.
Jesse, how many buyers want to come up with $30,000 out of their pocket?
None of them.
Say zero.
None of them.
Say zero. Thank you. Don't give me this neutral crap.
And I said none.
Okay, thank you. Good. I want to make sure that you're not being neutral. No one wants to pay anything. Listen, would we love to live
So-
in this world where we don't have to pay for anything? So this is going to be interesting to see how this plays out. We don't know.
That's right. I'm actually gonna go devil's advocate as well. Because here's why I really even in that case don't think it matters. How many sellers have said to you, "I'll never," and then they did.
A million.
I'll never take this price. I'll never go below that. And then they did.
Yep.
So I really believe that in the end, it will all work itself out. And if you can't get the offer negotiated with that, go to the next one.
Yeah, we're gonna figure this out.
Because sellers, you're not going to get them on the front end especially if they've said, "Well, we're gonna let it play out in the offer."
Right.
They're not going to answer your question anyway,
And
you could alienate yourself from a really good home by excluding that one because they won't tell you.
And this is what I want to wrap up with, because I love this in the interest of time. Well, none of us know how this looks yet. We're all going to, and this includes agents, this includes buyers, this includes sellers. We're all going to figure this out together.
Yep.
I was singing the old High School Musical. We're all in this together. I sang this. Yeah, it's bad. I sang that to my team the other day, but not much more than that. You're welcome, Mel.
We ran.
We are going to figure this out together. Okay. Trust is more important than ever. Who you hire is more important than ever. Grabbing the first Tom, Dick, or Harry, or Jane, Stacy, or Sally that comes through to list or help you buy a home is going to be probably a bigger mistake than ever.
Yeah.
Right? I don't know. This person just showed up. I just figured you need, as a buyer or seller, to vet people and realtors. That includes us. You should vet us.
You need people that really, number one, know what they're doing, but even more importantly,
vet us.
Have your best interest at heart.
Yeah. Please. We are prepared to be vetted. Okay. Visit us the following ways. Go stgeorge.com, GOSTgeorge.com. This is the Larkin Group at KW Realty. Or Google the Larkin Group. We can help you anywhere in the state of Utah. And this gets really crazy. We are licensed anywhere in the state of Utah, and we will help you anywhere in the United States. Guys, by the way, or Canada, or internationally, we actually have a referral network. I can have you one of the best agents in North America or Canada in almost any city within 60 minutes. If you were in Spain or Mexico or Great Britain, it would probably take me a day. We have that network. Let us help you. Jesse Paul, Jeremy Larkin, over and out.
Thanks for having us.